Hi, I'm Crystal with the Zinnias Garden, and for today's video, I'm actually going to be doing a series of beginner gardening steps for specific plants. I'm going to share with you how I plant them, how I prune them, how I keep them alive, how long they last for me, so that hopefully they're a success for you in your garden. So for the first plant, it's going to be zinnias. I think zinnias are the easiest flowers to grow from seed. They are affordable, they're easy to care for, they come and come again. You can collect seed for the rest of your life, I think, from one packet. They are so beautiful, and they now come in a huge range of different styles and colors and unique looks. They are just my favorite homegrown flower. One of the favorites that I have in my garden is this one from Floret. This is Queen Lime Blush. Another one of my favorites is also from Floret, which is Precious Metals. These are the brands that I currently have: Botanical Interest, Johnny Seeds, and Floret. I think I have like 20 varieties of zinnias. The great thing about zinnias is that you can buy them anywhere. They have them at big box stores like Walmart, Target even, Home Depot, Lowe's. You can really pay like $2 for a packet or up to like $35 for very special varieties. Some other varieties that I'm really interested in trying are from Eden Brothers, like Cupcake Pink Mix, Cinderella Lilac, Cinderella White, Cresto Cream, Cinderella Pastels, and they're all from the same brand. Okay, let's actually go and seed some zinnias. I really suggest you watch my full seed starting video. I go into deep detail on how to start seeds from start to finish, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you should be planting your zinnias, in my opinion, for the best results. So if you want to start a lot of zinnias, I suggest you do a full tray if that's what you're wanting to do. It's just easier that way. In my case, since I'm only going to be showing you how to plant these zinnia seeds, I'm going to go with this little pot here, and I like to keep these little pots when I buy plants just because of projects like this. I have my seed starting mix, which you will need, and I highly suggest some kind of seed starting mix because there's just a lot loftier soil and it doesn't really have much bark in it, and it's perfect for seedlings to grow. So in a container, a tray or some sort, you're gonna throw in some soil, and then you are going to wet your soil, and I explain this in my detailed seed starting video. And then you're just going to mix it well until everything is nice and wet, and you don't want it sopping wet. So because I did a little too much water, I would add more soil. Personally, to me, this is okay, but for future references, you don't want it to be dripping when you squeeze it. You want it to hold its form when it's wet, but that it's not sopping. This will be okay for now. We'll fill our little pot. I'm an overachiever, so I would actually put 2 or 3 seeds in here and then separate them later. But for the sake of beginners, I'm going to tell you to only do 2 seeds just in case one does not pop up. So here we have our pot and zinnia seed that I have collected at some point in one of these years. I'm not sure what year because I didn't label it. So I think it's safe to say that pretty much every zinnia seed needs to be planted at a 1/4 inch depth. In my previous video, I showed you how to read your labels on your seed packets just to make sure. But if your seeds don't say the depth, we're gonna go with a 1/4 inch. So this is what our zinnias look like. They have many different forms depending on the variety type. I could show you a different variety in just a minute. We're not gonna worry about pointy side or anything. We're gonna lay it flat on its side. I personally don't use anything to measure other than my thumb, so halfway and then a 1/4 would be how deep we're gonna go. And because I'm planting 2 seeds, I'm not going to plant them both in the middle. I'm going to plant one closer to the one edge and the other one closer to the other edge. That way, if both of them come up, I can just split it in half later on the road. So half, a 1/4. There's my hole, there's my hole. I have one zinnia and another one. And here's to show you. I'm not gonna worry about what side is what. We're just gonna put it on its side. We're then going to cover it just enough. We're not going to push down like I did there. We're just going to tap it in so that it's covered. Here's another type of zinnia. They come in different colors and shapes and sizes. This is from the peppermint stick. So now that our zinnias have been planted in their little pot, because the soil is wet, we're not going to pour over water. We're going to use a sprayer. It could be a hand sprayer or a pump sprayer like I have, or the mist setting in your hose. And you're just going to water it in very deeply. Now for beginner's sake, we're not going to put anything on top, but I normally do use vermiculite, and I show you what that is again in that other video. Once we're done with that, we're going to go and place it in a sunny spot, and what we could do is put it on a tray, and once it gets bigger, we would just water it from the bottom, letting the soil soak up as much water as it needed and then spilling it after. If you have this in a tray, you could dome it with either some kind of plastic or a plastic dome top like I do with my trays. Because I only have one, I'm gonna leave it here. It's nice and warm here in Hawaii. I don't have to worry about the cold or it not getting enough sun. It'll be fine. And you will plant this the exact same way if you want to plant it in the ground. Just make sure the soil around it is nice and soft, and you use the same exact method as I did here with the exception of the water. When it comes to planting directly in the ground, which is called direct seeding, before your seeds come out of the ground, you want to make sure that they maintain moisture. So you'll want to wet your seeds twice a day, at least every day. Check, make sure that it's not dry. The seeds will need water to germinate. If they dry out, they more than likely will not pop up. So make sure your seedlings are nice and moist until you see them emerge. Then you can kind of slow down on the watering and water maybe once a day. Okay, so now the next step would be what happens when our seeds pop out of the ground. I don't actually have any seedlings at that stage yet, but I could show you with this cucumber here. You see how it has 2 leaves? It would not be ready to transplant yet. You would have to wait for its second set of leaves. So for example, here it has 1, 2, it even has its third set of leaves. Once it has its second set of leaves, that is considered its first set of true leaves. At that point, you could transplant it out. It's ready, it's mature enough to be put in the ground. And you would just plant them at the level that they're at in the soil. So for example, I have in another video, I planted this actually with the seed starting video. And this is a perfect example. While these are not zinnias, here are the gomphrena. They have their first set of leaves and now their second set of leaves, which is their true set of leaves. That means they're ready to be split and planted in the ground. Okay, so once your plant has been in the ground, it's going to take off. Within a few weeks, they're going to explode. So what do we do to make them get bushier, grow bigger, grow faster, grow stronger? We need to cut. How do we know when a zinnia is ready to be cut? Well, let's check. If you do a wiggle test, you see that? Oh no, I broke it. It was not ready. This, a wiggle test. See how they jiggle? Let's see. A little bit more sturdy. How about this one? See that? Sturdy wiggle. More sturdy wiggle. You want to see a sturdy wiggle. This wiggle, hopefully I got good footage of it, was so wiggly that it broke the fragile flower. So now you know, if it's wiggly, don't cut it yet. If it's sturdy, go ahead and cut it. Here's a perfect example of how we can make our plant even bushier. This is the leader. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut all the way down to the split. The split. Now we can harvest our flowers and put them in a cute little vase or just throw them away, up to you. Here's another one. This one has been sitting for a minute, so she is quite beautiful. Now, to cut a zinnia back, here I have the little head, but I popped it off earlier. Just imagine that you see a beautiful little zinnia head right here. You're gonna go down, right? To cut, do your best to cut. You don't have to get all the way down. Get as close as you can with minimal effort, cut, and you're good. You don't need to do anything to the cut. You don't need to put anything here, just leave it as is and it'll be just fine. Now, if you are like me and you can only plant in raised beds or containers, these are just fine. They will work perfectly. You can space them out and plant them however you like, as long as they get enough space between each plant. I believe it's 2 feet on each side technically, but as you can see, I don't follow that rule and they do just fine. If you're planting them in ground, go ham, have fun. Make hedges. A zinnia hedge would be beautiful. For seed collecting, you want to let the flower on your plant die all the way down so that you can collect its seed if that's what you want to do. Just be aware that if you mix seed types, they're not going to come back true. The only way that they will come back true is if you plant the exact seed variety in the field that you have. So for example, if I plant only precious metals from start to finish, all the way through until every last plant has died or I have pulled every single plant, they will only be precious metals. But if I plant both peppermint stick and precious metals, or I mix planting at any given time, once they start to bud up, the seed will no longer be true. It'll be some kind of a mix between the two of them. So here I have some zinnia seed heads that I had actually forgotten about that I collected. So I let the flower completely die back. Here you can kind of tell this is the top of the flower, this is the bottom, and this is what I was left with. I collected them all and I threw them in here. So now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to crush it, and hopefully you can see this is not viable. There's nothing in there. It is soft. I'm not sure if any of these are viable just because of having left them in the elements. So there was really nothing in here for me to use because it's all just dry and flexible. If it bends, it's not going to be a viable seed. If it breaks, it's also not a viable seed. Here I have the ones that I had previously collected, and you can see here that if I squeeze it, it's really hard to break. I have to really try to break it, and I'm just poking myself instead. So make sure that when you collect your seed heads, you leave them in a dry place, not out in the elements like I did. Otherwise, it will just pulverize and turn into nothing, which is okay. I have more than enough seeds. I don't need more zinnia seeds. But once you pulverize all of this extra stuff, you would just shake through anything that doesn't belong. I like to use a tray, grab a bunch, and just kind of do this with my hands until there's nothing left but seed. That's usually how I do my seed collecting. And then if you want, you can pick out all the gunk or just blow it away, and you're left with the heavier seed. But I can make a full seed harvesting video later on in the season so that you could see how I harvest my own seeds in my little garden. Okay, so I had to move over to the front just so that we could talk a little bit more about these zinnias. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the issues that you may run with zinnias, because once you have them in really bright sun, and I'm talking 8+ hours a day, nice hot summer days, as long as you're watering, they will thrive. But some problems you can run into, especially if you live in hot, humid climates like I'm living in right now, is powdery mildew. Powdery mildew is exactly what it sounds like. It is powder mildew that just lays on top of the leaves, and this is mainly caused because of the rain. There's so much rain and so much humidity, and it just starts creating this mildew on zinnias. There are organic solutions that you can use. I use Bonide products, so they're organic things that you can spray on your garden so that you don't feel bad about what you're putting on your plant, if that's something that you're comfortable with doing. Another issue that I personally run into is leaf miners. So they're these tiny little bugs that just leave little mines, little squigglies on your leaves. There's also a product for that I use that I will post pictures of. Another issue is white flies. They're just these tiny little, they look like specks that just fly up in the air. They're actually little flies, and they attach themselves to the bottom of the leaves and they start eating it up. There are also spider mites. Spider mites will decimate your plants, and they will go and they will grow fast. A lot of these insects can be dealt with using one product, which is why I love using Bonide. Obviously, this is not sponsored. I just absolutely love their product. I love that they're organic. I love how easy and user-friendly they are, and they're so good for organic gardening. Now, if you don't want to use anything on your plants, no shame on that. just rip it up and throw it out before it starts infecting everything else. There's so many other issues that can arise with zinnias. I don't mind helping you out if you have a question about something that might be happening to your zinnias and you can't figure it out. Will do my best to help you with that. I hope I didn't miss anything in this video. I hope it was a very easy, user-friendly guide for you to start. I hope this has given you the encouragement that you may have needed just to get your zinnia seeds started. Oh, and don't forget to follow if you like this video, because my next one is going to be the beginner guide for basil planting, and I'm so excited because I love basil. All right, till next time.